to see how good we are. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And the first order of business, as always, is the reading of the minutes, which we have received thanks to William's extraordinary speed. Seems like when I got home, they were there when I got on my computer. Anyway, they've all been sent, and we've all received them, I'm trying to say. So I will entertain a motion to waive the reading and approve, or if there are additions or corrections. Now's your chance.
I will make the motion that we waive the reading and approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
The petitioner for the first petition is not here yet, so we'll slide right ahead to the second one on the agenda, which is case 2024-11 at 25 Beacon Place.
Hi, good evening. My name is Arslan. I am the homeowner's brother, Medina Kudenazar. She's actually stuck in traffic, but I was here with her for the first meeting. So I don't know if you would like for me to just speak or wait for her.
Yeah, why don't you just quickly describe what you'd like to do, and then if there are questions, members of the board
Sure, sounds good.
will ask you.
Okay, so the homeowner's name is Medina Kudenazar. My name is Arslan Kudenazar for 25 Beacon Place, and what we're looking for is the approval for the driveway that's there. The driveway is already in place. Unfortunately, due to this being our first property and it was a remodel, we did hire a licensed contractor to pave the driveway. So we're just looking for approval to keep that.
So what you're saying is the driveway is already there,
Yes,
and you're now backing up to get approval from this board.
correct. Yeah, so prior to the work starting, we had asked the contractor, do we need a license or anything? He said, no, I can just put the concrete in. So we didn't know until Leo from the building department put the stop work sign on the front door. So this is what started the whole.
I mean, as the property owner, it's the property owner's responsibility to know what is required when doing any kind of remodeling or reconstruction. And I have to say, I am really getting tired of applicants coming in seeking permission after they've already done the work and just expecting us to rubber stamp it when, that's not how this is supposed to work. Permission applications should have been filed before the work as part of the whole project, actually. And I find it very difficult to believe that the contractor did not know that.
No, I understand your frustration, but this was not done with any ill intent. But this is the very first property that we bought, and the remodel wasn't just one or two things. It's a huge remodel.
Oh, I know. I live in the neighborhood, and I have walked by. I've seen the work that's being done. And that's why I am saying I find it difficult to believe that the contractor did not include this with the initial application, or, as you were seeking the initial permits to do the work.
Yeah, so the contractor that did the driveway is not the same contractor that's doing all the other work because he doesn't do concreting. So this was someone separate.
So this is on you or whoever filed the initial application.
Correct, yeah. So
to have known what was required.
So again, with this being our first remodel, we did ask prior to the concrete being poured, and we just took his word
What
because
should have been done was to call the city's offices, to call Mr. DePriest, either planning and development or inspectional services, any one of whom would have told you, yes, you need an application to put in this driveway.
Yeah,
No.
so, we learned this, again, after Leo had put that on there. It's our very first project, so, that's when we learned that we did need a
Wow.
license, and
Yeah, I'm just getting very, very tired of this happening over, and I don't, you haven't been at other meetings, but my point is, if we don't put a stop, if we just keep approving after the fact, it's going to continue happening,
I understand.
so.
So, I agree, it totally isn't great if projects come to us after completion. That definitely isn't how it should go, especially considering that this project included a curb cut, which could take away a parking spot. I would probably put blame on the contractor to ensure all proper permits are pulled first. As a homeowner, it's easy to not think about that kind of thing, but a contractor should understand. And I think that Chelsea should definitely fine any contractor that does unpermitted work, because this isn't great.
To clarify, there's a garage on site, right?
Correct, yes.
How many cars fit in the garage?
One small sedan,
And how many cars do you plan to fit into the driveway?
2 back-to-back.
2 back. Thank you.
Sure.
That is your garage, yes?
Correct, yes.
On
That
the
was
left.
pre-existing.
I beg your pardon?
It's pre-existing garage.
So I am assuming that the renovations were done with inspections?
Yes. Yes, they were.
So the inspections went in and saw the driveway and said nothing?
No, that's.
When was the driveway put in? Before or after the inspections? Or during the inspections?
The construction's still going on. The house is not completed yet.
Okay, so you've been inspected before the driveway was put in?
Correct, yes.
And then you were inspected after the driveway was put in?
So,
No
we,
one's inspected it after the driveway was put in? You haven't been inspected again?
we have, that's where we received that letter from Leo on the door to
Okay.
stop any additional work. And then that's where we filled out the application with Mike to start this process.
Okay.
So is the property, I can't recall from memory, you're showing here on the picture on the right that the driveway there will be paved. Is there any other open property,
Is there any other open?
like unpaved area on site, on your property? Like on the other side of the house or in the back, do you have any unpaved space?
No, so the front, there's no grass, just because it's technically the street, it's still Beacon Place, but that was already there with asphalt, and then the back is just concrete.
But where you've poured the concrete, that had been dirt?
Correct, yes.
Yes, somewhere it does.
Questions, comments, motion?
Was a site plan provided? I don't see a site plan in the
Well, all
document.
we're looking at for this is the driveway.
But
I
there is
realize that.
there is a site plan,
Okay.
yes.
Are you,
Yeah,
What's this?
yeah, that's what I have here.
Do we know what the inspectional service thinks?
I'm sorry,
Do we have an idea of what Mike thinks?
I'm sorry, the acoustics in here are horrible, I can't hear.
Do we know what Mike thinks in inspectional services? Does he have a thought or an idea?
Inspectional services are the ones who gave the cease and desist
Right.
and order them to go and get the permit from the board. They don't give an opinion beyond that.
Okay.
I would, oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, the process is, for a curb cut, is that you apply to the building inspector for the permit, but the permit is actually issued by the Public Works Department.
I mean, even if this had come to us in proper fashion, I would also be concerned that it's poured concrete. That, you know, your whole property, it's all hard surface. You know, and you're up on the hill. So what's gonna happen to all of, you know, like rain runoff? You know, that part of, that edge is already, it's always eroding. And I would, again, had this application come to us in proper fashion, I would be one who would be strongly urging the use of permeable surfaces to, you know, for the driveway to allow rainwater and other water running off down the hill to soak through into the ground. You know, I just think that this, again, that, you know, we're being asked to grant permission after the fact and that the material is not adequate. It's, you know, that it's not permeable. I think I cannot approve of this.
I'm far from a contractor, but I'm curious if it's possible to approve it with a condition that it is made permeable, if there's like some kind of storage drain. I don't know. Is that?
Well,
Had it come to us in usual fashion, I would be okay with that. But again, we're being asked to approve of something that after it's been done, which is, I can't countenance that.
Yeah, and just to chime in here, like, again, I know you've the experience you've had, the frustration you've had, you know, for running through this continuously, but it wasn't done with any ill intent. Like, we did do our part by asking, you know, the contractor who's licensed, who's insured, and we trusted his word. So it wasn't because we intentionally did it just to try to get the approval after the fact, but
Everybody, there's so many people who have come before us saying the same thing. And I'm not saying that that you're just telling us a story, but what I am saying is I feel that I have to say enough is enough, and we cannot just continue to rubber stamp approvals when people are not following the regulations.
So, out of curiosity, if this isn't approved, are they going to be forced to install a curb and take out the concrete driveway?
They'll be required to remove the concrete driveway, yes.
Okay, so restore it to its original condition. I mean, personally, I totally understand, but I feel strange about punishing a petitioner for the actions of a contractor, which is,
Well, that's on the contractor.
But again, it is also ultimately the homeowner's responsibility to, I mean, yes, we do rely on our contractors to know what needs to be done, but as the homeowner, ultimate responsibility is mine.
Yeah.
To know what, I'm the one who I own this property, I'm hiring this person. It is my responsibility to make sure that they are doing the job according to the city rules, regulations, the state rules and regulations.
And we have learned that now. This is why, we went ahead and, followed all the steps after knowing, once we were hit with the cease and desist letter. We've, instead of ignoring it, we have taken all the measurements, such as getting a site survey, following everything that Mike recommended, everyone that's recommended for us to be able to get in front of you. So it hasn't been ignored. It's been done in a timely manner. Like I think just the fact that we've spent thousands of dollars, and again, I understand your frustration of this being a continuous thing, but I just think it would be just financially just a huge hit on us. The fact that we're still not done with the project and it's still eating in. It's about a year's worth of project, and we've learned so much, in this process. But we've been, dealing with this for a year, and it's just nothing but a money dump. And if we're forced to take out the concrete, that's just thousands of dollars that are lost and have to be spent furthermore. So, considering that we've done everything on our part after we were hit with the cease and desist letter, I think that should be taken into consideration, not just the fact that, everyone else has been doing this prior to us.
We're looking at this application.
I was just using your reasoning that, so many other homeowners have done this in the past. And, that's the reason why I said what I said.
Yeah, so just, again, this is why I'm saying no more. Because
Well,
it will continue.
I respect your opinion, but I think there's no way you're gonna have to remove the driveway. My attitude is that I would approve the actual driveway with a different top, but there's no way that the concrete is gonna stay. I'm sorry. I understand that what happened with the inspector, I don't quite have the same ability that when you hire someone like a lawyer who lies to you and tells you that you're going to win in court and you don't, and then you're ultimately responsible. I feel like this is I think the contractor clearly led them astray, and you hire people, professionals, thinking that they know what they're doing. So I think to expect that the homeowner is supposed to know everything that the contractor's to know is, how are they supposed to know what plumbing is and electrical work is? I think that's a little bit putting too much emphasis, but I do think the driveway's got to go. I would approve keeping the driveway with a different media, but there's no way the concrete can stay.
Yeah,
I feel bad for you. I know it's expensive. I would go after the contractor. If you want some advice, that's what I would do. I'd go over to the contractor and have him do it, and not you pay for it. But believe me, I can only imagine what that's like. But there's because of drainage issues and grass and things like that. But the parking, I think the tandem parking would be ideal for you guys to have, and I think that's the most important thing in the end for the project, is to have the parking, and so I would say rip it out and put something else in it. That's my recommendation.
yeah, I'm just gonna chime in and say I support approving it, even though I absolutely hate a project came in front of us completed. I ultimately think this is the fault of a contractor, and we shouldn't punish the petitioner thousands of dollars for a contractor screw up. This is a perfect situation to just impose a fine of a few grand. Could it be on the contractor? Could it be on the petitioner? I think that's outside of the scope of what a planning board is able to, but this is the perfect situation for the city to impose a fine that I absolutely hope is imposed on the contractor. But it'll be so expensive to take out that entire driveway, install a curb. I can't in good conscience decline this.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to deny this petition. It's problematic in multiple ways, but big picture is your entire lot is impervious, which means it's sending the problem to your neighbors. They may not have flooding or they may not have had flooding problems before when it was a dirt driveway, and suddenly they will when there's nowhere in your lot for your own rainwater to drain in, so it sends the problem to other properties. This is a huge problem in Chelsea, and I can't enunciate that enough.
So to speak to that particular issue or concern, so Rich had come out and he looked at the slope of the driveway, and he said that all that's needed is in one of the photos they'll show the driveway to put a raised wall, as long as it's 6 inches or higher, that will then guide the water to go onto the asphalt.
Do you have a recharge system on site?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a recharge system on your property to handle the rainwater? Oh, he's, okay, into the storm. Where, can
So
you
if you, or if you can pull up one of the actual photos. So Rich came in, he measured it with a leveler, and he said all we have to do is just put that wall up, as long as it's 6 inches or higher, and that fixed the issue. So there is no water going into any of the neighbors' property.
have your neighbors commented on this?
They actually have. So the next door homeowner, so that was his concern. So that's why Rich came out. So both that homeowner and Rich, we all agreed on putting up that curb that guides the water onto the asphalt.
Okay. I've made my motion.
Can I offer an alternative? Not sure if it's possible, but we postpone the case, ask the petitioner to come back with a proposal that somehow makes it permeable. I'm not sure if it's possible, like cut a slit through it with grates, something, and we can consider it at that point in time.
Yeah, I can even ask sorry to cut you off, but I can even ask the homeowner from next door if he's willing to come in and speak on the matter.
Before we go on, there is a motion on the floor, excuse me. Has it been seconded?
I will second.
I just
Made
want,
and seconded.
just want to make it clear that the motion is to recommend that the ZBA deny the permit.
Yes,
Right.
and I
My
second.
question to Sarah is, are you willing to amend your motion?
Just to return it to the state that it was in before the concrete was added.
I'm just saying to reflect the suggestions.
So that would be a denial, correct? I mean, is there any further explanation needed?
All right, made and seconded motion to deny.
Or to ask that ZBA deny the petition.
So are you amending Sarah's motion?
Just rephrasing it.
And you can add it on, that's fine. Okay, all in favor of the motion as amended?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
2, 3, 4. Okay, motion is denied.
So can we put Eric's motion in?
Pick it again if you would.
I would like to propose to support Eric's motion to postpone it, come back with a plan that addresses the concerns of the board about how the drainage and getting a little bit less, if not all, the concrete gone, and sort of see what's happening in there. It is noticeable that the city did do their due diligence and stop the project, so they did their job. So, and I would propose you come back next month, which is July.
Continue.
Or 2 or August. It'll probably take time to draw everything up.
But yeah, I would propose that instead of, to come back with a new proposal for the driveway and go after that contractor.
Yes, please go after that contractor.
That's
if
my proposal.
You're able to, and just
And that's
make
mo-
sure it's
Oh, that's my
permeable.
motion.
Make sure it's permeable. That's the key part here.
All right, just to clarify so I can understand. So by the next meeting, is to show proper drainage, and what was the other part, sorry?
Try to bring, because there's so much concrete in your project,
Okay.
that, we need to see if there's, like Eric said, maybe to put some kind of
To make the surface permeable.
so,
Okay.
which is usually meaning like, making it so that there's some more ground. Even if, it's like you built something on a big giant slab. Backyard, front yard, side yard, it's one big giant slab.
Okay,
I talked to an expert about like replacing it with pavers or adding a grate going across it that all the
yeah,
That all
we have
water can
pavers
go
in the
into.
front, those are new as well, so there are pavers on both, the entire front where you see the front entrance, so,
So I
Many
think that we're
pavers,
talking
there's a
about pavers on the
difference,
actual driveway, which isn't permeable at all.
The concern for the board is that you changed something that was dirt that absorbed the water, and now you changed it to concrete, so it's not absorbing water anymore. So that's the concern from the board. So if you can figure out a way that you don't have just concrete and having water rolling down, I think that would make the board a little more content with this driveway.
okay, alrighty,
That's
thank you.
So that my motion is to have him come back.
I'll second it.
So your motion includes continuing the case.
Continuing the case.
All right.
Drill
And
some
that
holes.
is
Make it
that is
twisties.
actually the meat of your motion.
That's my meat of my
Right.
motion.
All right, so there is a motion made to continue this case until, when?
August? Want to do it to August? Give you 2 months?
August works, yeah.
Yeah, does that give you enough time?
Yeah. Thank you.
And John, are you willing to advise him on the details of the, all right?
Yes, it'll be the August 27th meeting.
August 27th? Alrighty.
And are you willing to meet with him or his
Yes.
contractor as
Yes.
required? Very good. John will help you figure out the details of what's been said tonight.
Sounds good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, one opposed.
Two.
Two opposed. Okay, the motion is carried.
Thank you.
See you in August.
Have a good night.
Next is here. Yeah, okay. This is case 2024-10 at 49 Harvard Street. You need to identify yourselves, and whoever's going to speak needs to identify themselves, and given that your residential address.
Good evening. My name is Benny Bear. I'm an architect. I'm the architect for this project. I'd like to apologize for being late. I was stuck in traffic. I was in a parking space.
Can you pull the microphone closer?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Benny Bear. I am the architect for this project. With me here is the owner, Mr. Nelson Castro. And I apologize for being late for this meeting. And thank you for your patience. The proposal here is
There's the handheld. Yeah.
Thank you. The main house is existing. There is a second floor addition that's existing. It was constructed a few years back. And our proposal is to construct an addition at the front. Right now, there is a small entry vestibule right here where the steps are. We are proposing to square it off and then change the roof configuration on over the attic, so we build a full third floor. Can we scroll to sheet AS101? This one, thank you. So at the top, you see the existing conditions. There's the attic, second, first, basement, and these are the proposed floor plans. So there's some work finishing living space in the basement, no work on the first floor, no work on the second floor. In the attic, there are currently existing 3 rooms that are being used as bedrooms in the attic. There's 1 bathroom. What we're proposing is by reconfiguring the roof to create a better, larger living space in the attic with the same number of bedrooms, 1 additional bathroom. So if there are 1, 2, 3 existing bedrooms in the attic currently, we're going to end up with 1, 2, 3 bedrooms in the attic and a central sitting space in here. This is not a bedroom. One of these rooms, the one that's in the front, that's over the expansion to the front of the building, is a master suite with a walk-in closet and a bathroom, and there is a bathroom roughly in the same area where the existing bathroom is, but it's easily accessible to the other 3 bedrooms. I'll be happy to answer questions about this.
So just to confirm, the structure is currently 2 apartments and you're increasing it to 3?
No, it's currently a 2-family and it's remaining a 2-family.
You're just adding an extra floor and adding a couple bedrooms. Okay, thank you.
And what about parking?
There is no off-street parking currently, and we're not proposing any new. I don't know, John, if you have photographs of the existing conditions. It's on a hillside. There's really no way to provide off-street parking on this lot.
And are you going to rent the units, or are you going?
I'll leave that to the owner.
No, it's part to the second floor, make it more space.
No, are you going to rent them or sell them?
No, I don't want to rent it. I want the people just use the second floor, they want to use the attic too. Yeah.
So the same family that's staying
Yeah,
there?
the same family is using
You're
the
just expanding it for the...
Yeah, I want to use Spain more.
And they're rentals?
Yeah, maybe I increase the rent, yeah.
And how long do you think the project will take?
How long? I do it for myself, maybe 1 year, 1.5 years. I don't know how long it takes.
They're very patient tenants.
Any photos of the front of the property, Andy?
Just what's I can bring it over to you.
I have it here.
So, I'm sorry, so it's currently a two-family house.
Correct,
It will stay a two-family house.
correct.
Each unit will be enlarged. It sounds like, is it with the upstairs unit, that's the one that's going to have the increase in bedrooms?
There's no increase in bedrooms.
I'm sorry?
There is no increase in the number of bedrooms. They're going to increase in size. There's going to be an additional bathroom,
Okay.
but there's no increase in the number of
Okay.
bedrooms.
Legal bedrooms, is an increase in the number of legal bedrooms.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
How many bedrooms are there currently on the third floor?
There are 3 that are being used currently as
That
bedrooms.
Are there a legal bedroom size, or is this just under the eaves?
It's under the eave. And part of the impetus for this project is to create a more comfortable ceiling height, larger size, and better circulation so that you don't have to go through a bedroom to another bedroom or through a bedroom to a bathroom, which is the current situation.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the application with the written project summary, which does say that the proposed work would increase the number of bedrooms from 7 to 9, and the number of bathrooms from 3 to 6. Has that changed?
That's a total, well, it has changed because we did not count properly the existing condition. We did not understand existing condition properly. So there's an addition of a bedroom in a basement. That's one room that's being added in the basement. That's not in the attic.
Okay, so what, the current total number of bedrooms is what, 7 or 9? Or 8? I'm not clear.
2 on the first floor.
Mhm.
There are 3, right?
Yeah.
3 on the second floor, so that's a total of 5.
Mhm.
And there are 3 on the top.
Okay, so 8, and,
One on the second floor, like, look like office is small because it don't have a closet.
Okay.
Look like a small office.
But we're not working on that floor.
okay. So the total number of bedrooms is increasing by only 1? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? Okay, okay, thank you.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. If the footprint isn't changing, the height also isn't changing, I don't have any concerns about this project.
I'd agree, Eric, but the footprint is changing.
Yeah, the footprint is changing. They're adding an extension out front.
Oh.
And I
out front.
I
That's the whole stuff.
don't
adding on top.
have any problem with the rear addition. I think that makes sense, and adding the dormers makes better use of the third floor. But you've completely altered the facade. I mean, there's no vestige of the original building. And that's a real
You're
disappointment.
correct on that.
I mean, it's a beautiful building, and it's just maximized in every direction.
Mhm.
And some of it makes perfect sense, but I don't.
I'm
I
not
don't
going to
agree
argue with that.
The front yard setback.
what is the current front yard setback?
Let's see. 20 feet existing, proposed 9-foot setback.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So,
So how much of the front yard are you losing?
How much of the front yard?
Yeah, how much is the new, how big is the new extension on the front?
It's
'Cause it's a
about,
set,
it's about 8 feet, which is the size of the existing entry vestibule, and then it takes the entire width of the house.
Yeah, it just, I mean, just looking at the rendition of what it will be, it kind of feels like a McMansion on a postage stamp. As Sarah said, there are some things that do make sense. I would agree with, exactly what she said. But I think overall, it's too big for the lot size.
So I'd like to propose some sort of hybrid solution. I think that the modifications to the roof and rear make perfect sense. It makes it much more doable, but I cannot support what you're proposing to do to the facade. It's a beautiful building, and it just degrades it in so many ways. But furthermore, you'd be cutting, like 10 feet into the front yard setback. So I would like to propose approval of the rear and side yard impingements of the setback and the modifications to the roof, but not the front yard setback. Is that, how do we structure that? That I would put together, I'd put forth
Could we request possibly a continuation and bringing back a redesign of the front facade
yes.
for your review and approval?
I think that's the best solution. Thanks for suggesting that.
So you will make a motion for
With,
continuance?
Okay, so I will make a motion for a continuance until the July or August.
Can you do it by the 4th week of July?
4th week of July? Yes, we'll do July
It would be, the meeting would be the 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah, and if that is acceptable to you, I will second the motion
The motion to
to
continue.
continue to the July meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is case 2024-12 at 410 Beecham Street. Thomas Reedy is the petitioner.
Good evening, everyone. David Mindlin representing the 410 Beecham Street team. We have Phil Henry, who is the civil engineer for the project, Dennis Darvo, who is the consultant, and Robert Fidel, who is the owner of the property. Very briefly, before I turn it over to Mr. Henry, the proposal is to construct a new gas station at 410 Beecham. It's a triangular lot. It was formerly a gas station, non-conforming use. It was closed and all the equipment was removed, so any benefit of grandfathering the use in has been eliminated. The use is now permitted by special permit. Very briefly, the project would include 4 new pumps with 8 positions for fueling passenger cars, 2 high-speed diesel pumps with an additional pump in the middle so that trucks can fuel from both sides, fuel their tanks from both sides. There's also a convenience store included. It says the original proposal was cafe and convenience store, but just to clarify, it's actually a grab and go. There's no seating in the cafe. Petitioners are seeking relief for lot size, parking, and
Lot size.
yeah, lot size, and again, the use. There's a question about signs. John, when you wrote your evaluation, were you including the signs on the canopy over the pumps?
Yes.
Okay, so it would also be for the number of signs. Covered? Oh, and just one other thing. The zoning board had questions about the proposal, the proposed hours of operation. So we submitted an explanation. The idea would be to have the gas station open 24 hours and the convenience store open from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., but the store would be attended with a pass-through window so that people could buy sandwiches, whatever, drinks, and whatever else they needed. But that would address the question of safety for any attendant after overnight hours. But it would be open but not accessible to the public.
Excellent. Good evening. My name is Phil Henry with Civil Design Group. What I could do, I can give you a brief overview on the site plan, and I'm happy to answer any specifics as it relates to grading or drainage as we get through the process. Could whoever's controlling the computer, could you go to the site plan? Yep, sheet 4. And then, yeah, maybe just zoom in for the benefit of the board. We can work off of this sheet, and we could turn to other sheets if necessary. So, as previously discussed, this site's a triangular shot, a lot. It's about 30,000 square feet. The required zoning, the required lot area in this zone is 1 acre, so it's an existing non-conformance, which is one of the reliefs that we're asking for from the ZBA. We're also seeking relief on the number of required parking spaces, of which we calculated 22, and we are providing 10 striped spaces and then 10 vehicle spaces at the pumps. Walking the board through the site, working from left to right, the triangular shaded hatch in the top left section of the site, that would represent the store, the convenience store, with an entrance, the main entrance facing the pumps. The pumps themselves are, I'll just stand up here. Is this acceptable? This main body here is the fueling dispenser. So I'll divide this up into low speed and high speed. The low speed dispensers are located here, 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 and here. And those are the fuel dispensers that you see every day that we would fuel up on, that they're double-sided. So there's 4 fueling dispensers, of which there's 8 fueling positions. These 3 dispensers are the high-speed diesel dispensers for where larger trucks, tractor trailers would enter and exit the site. This dispenser is only a one-sided dispenser. This dispenser is a dual-sided dispenser. And then this dispenser is a single-sided dispenser, so that only 2 trucks can go in between these 3 dispensers, of which the middle one would service both tanks, or both sides, I should say. The parking spaces that I previously mentioned, 5 of them are over here with an ADA space located proximate to the building. There's a single space located here for either employee, and then there is 4 additional spaces located over here next to the trash. The underground storage tanks are located here, and they'll obviously be below grade. The curb cuts, those of you that are familiar with the site, there were some right-of-way improvements a few years back. This plan contemplates reusing those existing curb cuts, so we're not proposing to rip up anything within the right-of-way, which is consistent with, I think, an approval that was perhaps a few years ago, which was similar to automotive service use. This plan also includes a reduction of impervious area of about 3,000 square feet. The drainage and utility connections are nearly identical from what was approved a few years ago, down to where the position of the inlets are, the catch basin inlets. We didn't see a real need to reinvent the wheel, despite the fact that the convenience store itself was enlarging and going into the top left section of the site. So I'm happy to describe all that, but the water quality treatment is also the same as was previously approved. So we look at this as sort of an enhancement of what was previously before you a few years ago. So I'm happy to answer any specific questions.
How does this project dovetail with the proposed FEMA infrastructure across the street?
So we do have a compensatory storage. We understand that a portion of this site is in floodplain, and we provide calculations on compensatory storage, although I saw in the records that because this area is, it fluctuates, tidal, that it's exempt from compensatory storage requirements.
Correct. It's considered a coastal community, and coastal land subject to coastal storm flowage does not require compensation.
However, with that being said, we meet what was previously approved.
And how many years ago was that?
There was no previous Concom approval on this. There was only previous Concom demo approval.
Okay, yeah, I guess what I was suggesting was that the compensatory storage table that was previously submitted on the prior application, we essentially mitigate the same amount of storage, even though it wasn't required, apparently.
No, there was nothing submitted to the Conservation Commission other than for demo of the site.
Okay, yeah, I'm not suggesting that there was, but there was a compensatory storage table on the prior approval. All I'm saying is that we match that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
We'll deal with this offline. We'll
And
deal with
here's
this
my other
offline.
question.
Okay.
How many years ago was that?
I think it was two years ago, I think the prior.
Okay, and
I'm not aware of any of this coming before the board previously, other
Okay,
than
well,
for
big
demolition.
picture, I'm wondering how, a lot has changed as far as floodplains since then. There's all sorts of new versions of the maps being drafted. Are we still in the same floodplain that it was when it was approved a few years ago?
Yeah, I don't think they remapped
Well,
this area.
flood zone. that's what I meant.
The floodplain maps were recently updated, but the results were so minor that you can't see them on the plans, at the scale of the
Well,
plans.
that's a critical area, because there was a river that once flowed through there. So that's a big concern.
Floodplain expanded in 2016, so any application after 2016 probably considered that floodplain.
How,
Also,
how does this fare in a flood? How does this site, how does a gas station deal with a flooding event? Like, how is it protected from becoming an environmental concern?
I guess I don't understand the question. So if
we
the
have
site's
3 feet
inundated?
of water in that area, which has been known to happen, how are the tanks like, how do you ensure that this isn't gonna become an environmental concern?
Well, theoretically, those tanks are sealed, right? So there should be no breaches. These tanks are designed so that there's no breaches from gas or diesel out into the environment. And so if there was technically a breach into them, the same alarms and sound notifications would go off, and they'd be notified. As far as I know, the jurisdictional requirement for flood zones is to make sure that you provide compensatory storage for whatever area that you're filling on site. And as I was indicating just a few moments ago, we feel that we've done that.
Has Carl weighed in on this?
I'm sorry?
Well, I'd like to hear Carl's,
Oh, I'm the conservation agent.
what was that?
I'm the conservation
Well,
agent.
Okay, but as far as,
So
How
it is not just compensatory storage, it also have to deal with sedimentation and erosion, so it's not just compensation.
Okay, yes, yeah, we have, sheet 3 is a soil erosion and demolition control plan where there's wattles surrounding the site. I'm happy to speak to that. There's notes, I think there's over 4 dozen notes giving guidance to the contractors on how to go about attacking this site from a demolition and erosion control plan.
what is the duration, sorry, one more question. What is the duration of the lease? Is there like a ground lease? And how long will this potentially be there?
The actual use?
Yes.
Are you guys owning the property?
He owns the property and he is the gas station developer, so it's his own project. Just to briefly answer some of the floodplain questions, I noticed in John's report, it actually says that the developer needs to submit to the Conservation Commission, so that should answer a lot of the questions regarding floodplain, because obviously they'll have to submit a competent plan in order to move forward with the Conservation Commission.
I have a different question. How much, getting those cars in and out, it looks like you guys, getting in and out of that gas station is going to be mighty tricky since the trucks are in the front and the cars are in the back. And some people, don't know which side their gas tank's on, so there's going to be like, it's not going to be easy. Like this is, you come, I get my car filled up all the time, and you think it would be pretty straightforward? It isn't. So this is a pretty busy street, and so you're going to get a semi truck making a left turn to get some gas. That's going to cause some backup.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
one of my questions, and it is, the other one is we're just building, again, one big giant concrete slab or asphalt or whatever else you want to call it, because you have to have that to make it pretty. But I also think you're overbuilding, because what happens in 15 years when you have an electric car? What happens to the station then? So in a long-term theories, it's very nice to have a convenience store that sells, a Twinkie and a lottery ticket, but that's not really what I envision for something that is literally, 2 miles away from the casino? So this is a interesting prospect of Chelsea that's going to be developed soon. You know, it's the last vestibule that is very industrialized in Chelsea, I think, except for maybe Eastern Ave. And, you know, and there's gas stations already there's a lot of gas stations already, but so I can't figure out, I assume you're trying to get, the last thing is you're trying to get the trucks from the market, from the vegetables and stuff. But I don't see how I don't see how traffic's gonna, and thank you for sparing us for a traffic study, because I really appreciate that, but I think when I look at this, I just see a nightmare. And also bicyclists. You know, you're gonna get a lot of bicyclists, so.
Yeah, I was gonna ask a similar question about that, because that is a very busy street, especially during the weekdays and especially at weeknights. Sometimes it gets busy. There is a lot of truck activities, which there has been a lot of car accidents around that area as well. So, you know, find a better way of like, how can your customers get in safely and safely out, which also with the trucks, that's all over the area. You know, that's actually one of our concerns that we are looking at.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess I could try to answer the maneuverability question as it relates to access. It's admittedly, it's a little bit tough on this sheet to see, but what we contemplated that very. Did I just turn this off? Okay. We contemplated that very thought, which is why we centrally located the fuel pumps on each of the curb cuts, and we positioned the high speed or the trucks towards the front of the site, where, as you could see, there's more area to maneuver and park. So on those printed plans, you might be able to see, and here, I think you can see here, there's actually regular vehicles positioned here. And then there's actually a tractor-trailer truck located here and here. So I don't know if you guys can see it on your site plan, but we position this dispenser layout in the sense that vehicles can either back out or drive through out of their respective positions, and we feel that there's ample space either in front of a truck or behind the truck, and also being able to leave sufficient drive aisle for parked vehicles. So I understand your concern that it might be a busy gas station. I think that's what we want. But we've also tried to lay it out and size it such that there's sufficient and industry standard spacing between moving vehicles and parked vehicles.
My other question is, I don't know if I'm missing it, where is the refill for the tanks? Like when you guys gonna refill more gas for your gas pump, where is that gonna be located?
Yeah, so there's these are the underground storage tanks here. The fill ports are located atop the tank. So a truck would, a refilling truck would come in here and then come out here.
Robert Fadel, I'm the owner of the property. I would like to explain a few stuff. The trucking dispensers are high-speed diesel, so those big trucks, if they go to a regular gas station that they exist right now in Chelsea, they're gonna take about 20 minutes, 15 minutes to fill. On these pumps, it will take maximum 5 minutes for the truck to be full, completely full, 200 gallons. And the trucks, we position them next to the street so the cars can go in the back easy and go out.
Except
And
that they're gonna cut the truck off. If you think that someone is not gonna want to go and beat the truck like they do when they're driving down the road, because everybody loves to be behind a semi. It's like your fantasy. Oh my gosh, I'm behind a semi. I can't see anything. This is unless you're in a snowstorm, that's the only time you really want to be behind the semi. Otherwise, you're going to try to beat the truck. It's a game everybody plays, and trucks take wide turns. And if you, and so what's gonna happen is, you're gonna get standoffs. The truck's gonna need a wide turn, this car's gonna come in, and you're gonna have a face-off. And I can only imagine road rage in the gas station. So or they're gonna come in the wrong way, and it's just gonna cause a bottleneck. I don't see how you're not gonna have a bottleneck there, because people are not gonna be able, sad but true, people do not follow signage. If you run an airport, talk to the people who build the signs, they cry every time, because nobody, the gate 10 is here, people never follow the signs. So they're not gonna, if you could put lights, neons, racetracks, you could put arrows, you could put Brad Pitt in the middle of it, and they're still not gonna follow it. So I just don't, that's my concern, is like, there's a reason why there are usually separate areas for trucks versus
Yes, if
cars.
you look at the old plans, they used to have 9 pumps, and they used to pump 6,000 gallon diesel a day over there. So I don't think it was a problem before they demolished this and submitted the new plans. Because it used to be a gas station, they used to have 9 dispensers, not 6. So it used to be like, because I go to Duffy right next door, I buy my cigarettes from there for my gas stations, and I used to see trucks all the time going in and going out. So it used to be a gas station. And for the electric part, Ford stopped making electric. You know, there's a lot of problem with electric. If I live 15 years from now, I'll probably demolish this and put a new 50-unit apartment, 20-unit apartment, or whatever. But from now till 15 years, yeah, I want to do it as a gas station, because that's my business.
I'm sorry, in response, gas stations unfortunately are a fact of life. Road rage is a fact of life. But this is and was really an excellent location for a gas station. It's in an industrial area. It will serve and service the produce market. And it's really away from any residential area where, you know, Ms. Rangatori was saying, would be chaos. So what better place for a gas station than an industrial area? And you may not have that many cars using it. Hopefully you will. But with proper signage and compensation for the crazies out there, and they're going to be there regardless, wherever the gas station is, wherever any parking lot is, there's crazy people cutting everyone else off. But this really appears to be an excellent location for a gas station. It's modest in scope, and again, it does serve the industrial area that it'll be in.
So I can't say that I'm super concerned about traffic patterns. It's a city. We're all driving with trucks. It's always going to be tight. I do have concerns, a lot of concerns about fit in Chelsea. This is super close to our MBTA commuter neighborhood. It's very close to our commuter train and Silver Line. This feels like the opposite of progress in Chelsea. It's just incentivizing people to get gas cars, and I think we should be incentivizing people to live close to public transportation. That's all I gotta say.
And I'm going to just put one more point. We desperately want to see this community have better access to our waterfront. There's so few spots where we can, you know, envision some sort of future where people can access the waterfront. So this locks that in. It just reinforces the industrial use of this particular area that, you know, has a marina right next door. There's a lot of wonderful potential. And this would just kick that can down the road. I don't think it's a bad, you know, I think Chelsea could use something like this, but why can't it be away from that waterfront area, you know, further down Beecham Street? I just think that it's too critical an area, and never mind the potential environmental risk. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of thought that has gone into this, but I have a grander vision for Chelsea than to see our waterfront, the limited space we have left, become more industrial.
I agree. It isn't as if I've ever driven through Chelsea and thought, oh my God, I can't fill up my gas anywhere. There's options in Everett, there's options in Chelsea, options in Revere. There's plenty of gas stations. And I don't think that this fills a giant need in Chelsea. I think this is a prime area in Chelsea, close to Market Basket, to create housing, incentivize public transportation, and this just feels like the total opposite.
Totally unrelated to what everybody else has been discussing. I do wonder, will there be any, or has any thought been given to having EV charging available?
If you guys want EV charging, we can add them. And if you guys don't want them, we can.
Okay.
It's only electric underground that will put the EV charging.
And currently, okay, so it currently plans for 10 vehicle parking spaces. How many, I think you said that up at the top, there would be one potentially for an employee. How many employees will there be per shift? I mean, this is going to be open 24 hours. So what is the idea for the number of employees?
So it will be 2 employees per shift for the building.
What about like for the overnight hours?
At night, only 1 employee, because the coffee shop will be closed after 10. So from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., there will be 1 employee. And from when the coffee shop opens, there will be 2 employees. And on the application, they were saying 23 parking spot, because we originally submitted a two floors, 2-story building with the office on top, but now we took that off. And we did
It's
it
still
1 floor.
fewer than what is required under zoning. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to understand, this gas station is being franchised? This is a franchise gas station?
So I own gas station, and I have franchise and I have independent, but I would, mobile have a nice image, so it will look really good with the new Synergy image.
Okay.
It will,
So this is
it will
going to
fit.
be independent gas station?
It will be a mobile gas station.
A mobile.
Mobile.
Mobile?
Mobile
Okay.
Mobile, yeah.
Only because I'm questioning, because I even seen golf.
Oh, yes, so
I just wanted to make sure, like,
we were gonna do golf,
Okay.
but I think mobile, there's no mobile around, and it will fit better. It's a stronger brand, and it will look nicer with the new image.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the issues is this was a gas station. It was designed as a gas station, and now it's just an empty lot. And it's ugly and it's useless, and returning to the prior use, I understand what you're saying about access to the waterfront, but there are still needs for certain, for lack of a better word, infrastructure, industrial support type businesses, and they have to go somewhere, and the best place to put them is an area like that. It'll be nicely designed, unobtrusive. If you see the recent elevation we submitted, an attractive building. I know that's subjective, but I think it'll serve the area very well. That's it.
I have to say that is not a very strong argument, since both Seaport and Assembly Row looked exactly like that before they built it. So the idea that it's, I'm with you. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around a gas station in this area. In like 15 years, I think Chelsea deserves better. I can't approve this project in good nature. As much as it's the need, I understand what you're saying about the need, but I think we need a bigger vision. That's
Yeah, I agree. It's just so short-sighted, and it isn't just short-sighted for this specific property. Are other properties close by going to turn into residential properties if there's a gas station next door? I think it disincentivizes development of this area to create housing, which is critical, and I can't possibly approve this either.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to deny the project.
A motion to recommend that the ZBA
Recommend
did it.
denying it to the ZBA.
I'll second it.
Motion.
Oh, wait, actually, should we ask for any public input first? Wait, is it open case? I always get so confused by this part.
It's up to the chairman. This is not a public hearing. It's up to the chairman.
This is not a public, would you like to open it to the public if there is anyone here who wishes to speak? I mean,
Sure,
I'm
yeah,
happy to do it.
I always appreciate public input.
All right, there's a motion made and seconded to deny a recommendation. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried.
So you'll be back here July 9th for zoning board.
All right, the next petitioner, or the next case is 2024-13 at 57 Palmer Street. To identify yourself, sir, and give us her address and your
Thank you.
petition.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. My name is James Christopher. I'm one of the principals of 686 Architects with the business address of 10 Forbes Road in Braintree. Here tonight on behalf of 57 Palmer Street. The proposal is to raise the existing garage and to construct a new 2-unit townhouse-style building. Each unit is approximately 1,413 square feet. It has 2 bedrooms with the living level on the 2nd floor and 2 interior parking spaces at grade per unit. We are seeking relief for front yard setback, lot size, rear yard setback, and combined side yard setbacks. If you like, I can go through the plans. Interestingly enough, as this project started, the lots were owned in common, and we filed an application for 57 Palmer to construct the new 2-unit building. At that time, when I came to the board last month, we became aware that 75 Palmer had sold, and that a parking easement would be required between the 2 properties. I submitted tonight to the board a new proposed site plan that provides that parking easement. I spoke with Mr. DePriest before the hearing, and we'll be filing an application for 75 Palmer to address the violations that will be created as a result of that parking easement. The proposed building is sited 19 feet from Palmer Street. There's a 19-foot setback. Using the existing curb cuts, we've created 2 front yard driveways. We've held the building 10'9" on the right from, is it Anesi or Anise Road? And we've tried to maintain that visibility across the corner of that street and to provide viable green space around the building. If we go to the next slide. These are just some existing photographs. The gray building on the left is 75 Palmer. We have the existing driveway and the existing garage, which will be raised. And then there's some aerials and additional photographs of the existing site. Next slide. This is our proposed layout. Again, the building is set 19'7" back, 2 interior garage spaces with green space around the building. And then we would create that common easement for the driveway on the left side of the building with some screening and buffering between our driveway and as much green space around the driveway as possible. And then we have a 8'10" setback from the left side yard setback. 7 feet of that would be easement to 75 Palmer. A 15'5" rear yard setback, and then with a little step out in the back to create access from the secondary stair to the rear yard. Next slide, please. As we get to the first living level, we see open eating and dining with a interior stairwell up, and then the common stairs feed the 2 units off of a double-loaded corridor. And then the third level is the bedrooms. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. There's 2 bedrooms and 2 baths on this floor with closets and the common stairwells. That's our roof plan, a pretty simple roof plan. And then the building and elevation, we are seeking 3 stories and 35 feet. And then the 2 garage doors accessed off of the driveways at the front of the building. That's our rear elevation. We tried to keep the fenestration and windows consistent and symmetrical. And then our side elevations. Building section.
That's it.
I think that's it. So with that, I'll try to answer any questions.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. What about trash?
There would be room within the garages to store bins, which would be brought out for curbside pickup.
And laundry?
I don't know if we incorporated that. We have space within the units to incorporate a washer.
And are they
dryer.
condos or rentals?
For sale.
For
Condos.
sale, Condos. And how long do you think the project will take?
I would anticipate a project of this nature would take about 8 to 9 months, a year on the long end. I had some discussion after the last meeting with the butters. Their primary concern seemed to be water. I mentioned that as a part of our building permit submission, we would deal with the civil engineer and work with the water recharge system on the site.
Can you clarify the situation with 75 Palmer Street?
I can try.
I'm not quite following, but it sounds complicated.
So this was an interesting wrinkle for me. I've never come across it before, but in Chelsea, lots can be subdivided, owned in common. So basically, the way that I understand it, 75 owned 57, and they use the parking on 57, the garage, as their parking, and their violations didn't exist because of the abutting lot being owned in common. When the property was sold, typically when I do this, I file applications for both lots to correct the violations on both lots. When the property was sold, I didn't know that the new violations were created because when I looked at the deed, it was already separated. So that's the way that I proceeded. When I met with Mr. McAteer at ISD, we discussed the situation. We revised the application to proceed with the 2 sets of violations. In the interim of the filing and the meeting, the property was sold. So now the 75 Palmer was sold. So now no longer owned in common. As a part of the sale, which was not relayed to me, but what got to me afterwards, the easement was to be put in place, and we would go through and legalize both properties. So after last meeting, I met with the owner of the new property, discussed the easement, met with the surveyors, had the easement added to the survey, and discussed it with Mr. DePriest prior to this meeting, and now I understand that I will be filing a separate application for 75 to correct the violation created by the easement, as I understand it. So that's how we arrived at that set of circumstance.
Sounds fun. So 75 isn't getting changed at all?
No change to 75, save that they will obtain the easement, and it will be recorded at the registry of deeds for the parking.
I'm just gonna mention that any approval should be conditioned that the proposed driveway is permeable, just to keep us on theme here.
We can accommodate that.
And what color is the building?
We haven't really finalized. In this rendering, it's yellow. As we get a little closer to the end, typically we see a lot of steel grays and blues. White casings, black windows is a popular finish on buildings that we're going through right now. We're happy to any input if the planning board or Chelsea would like to comment on the exterior aesthetics, we'd happily take it.
I would probably put a flower box. It's a very flat front, and I don't quite get the portico, so I'm sure.
Yeah, there's room to beautify the front elevation with some weight on that porch, some larger corner boards and details, maybe an eyebrow roof over the garage door. Initially, I start with these buildings intentionally planned. I wanted to come through this discussion, make sure that would be received and approved, and then we'll continue to detail the exterior.
What are you planning on doing with the existing trees?
Any of the trees that are on the site that can remain will remain. Anything that is impacted by the construction, if we jeopardize the health of the tree or anything like that, obviously will have to be removed. We can certainly, we've shown green open space. We typically provide a landscaping plan that will illustrate the type of trees that we tend to put back. I don't know if Chelsea has a set list of landscaping trees that they prefer to see or not see, but we can accommodate planting as you see fit.
Well, I'm just looking, it looks like this very large, mature tree behind the garage.
I'm not exactly sure where that lands on the site. It'll be close, but.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from.
Yeah, the canopy, sometimes in the photographs, the canopies look larger than they are as well. But if we can maintain it, any trees that we can maintain, that's our general philosophy. Any trees that can be maintained will be maintained. And if we have to lose trees, we try to replace as much as we can on site with trees that will provide viable canopy and that will have a healthy life that can grow with the life of the property.
Yeah, because it would be a shame. I mean, this tree is taller than 75.
It is.
So it would be.
We'll do everything in our
tragic.
power. I will talk to the surveyors and try to get that located, and then we can see what the impact is.
This is an aesthetic thing, but if you're looking
I'm
for
open.
suggestions, I would rethink the pitch of the roof. It just makes it look more enormous.
Yeah, we have plenty of room within the height. We can certainly take a look at that. I also think that, some of the front entry can be more, we can maybe protrude that a little bit, get some more weight on it. Yeah, maybe a bay on the windows. I think we can
Looking at the
accommodate
section,
that.
looks like you have plenty of height.
We do.
Good for it.
Yeah, so I think we can add some weight to that entrance and dress up that front elevation significantly.
Yeah. And maybe they just de-emphasize the look of a garage.
Yeah, we can, there's several ways, we can go to a larger single door, which I think will minimize the appearance of the two, but still function for the two cars. And we can look at maybe incorporating, one of the things when I look at this elevation on paper right now that's jumping out at me is just the flatness of it, an undulation, an eyebrow on the roofs of the garage will help to really break that down. I think we can accommodate that.
Okay, you're an architect.
I'm not.
Oh, okay. I thought one of the owners was an architect.
What's that? I own I own an architectural firm, but I'm not an architect.
Oh, okay, well, you have.
I've been in the world, though.
Okay. Anyway, I would take another look at these.
We will.
What were you planning on using for paving material?
You know, we didn't specify it that far. Pretty much any pavers that we use now are permeable, so we'll incorporate a permeable paver, and, you know, we'll do something along the edges for planting on both sides to try to keep it green and make it look inviting, so it's not a cold, hard gray. And I'll discuss the driveway with 75 and try to accommodate the same situation, so that they're complementing. They're very close in proximity. I mean, they touch.
Have you thought, last question, have you thought about solar powering this building?
I have not. I can certainly discuss about it with the owner. We can accommodate panels on the roof, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's a new build and
Mm-hmm.
it'd be really nice.
I can definitely discuss that with the owner.
Does this have like a backyard or a front yard?
So we have a 10-foot, the front yard is walkway and driveway. We have green on either side, and then in the back, we have each space has a roughly 15 by 19 green space. So the way that I envision this site is that along that back edge, I think we'll incorporate some trees, some screening and buffering, and a fence to enliven that. And then on the edges, like in that back right corner, we'll do the same thing. That looks like a spot for a big tree for me. And then, you know, shrubs and plantings along the edges. But each unit has direct access off the common stairwell to a space behind theirs that is somewhat private.
So they could potentially, like, have a barbecue or
Of course,
like
yeah,
a little
patio.
patio kind
There's
of
space there for, we haven't shown anything in there. We're showing it as green, but a patio could be installed. There'd be a space for a picnic table, those types of things.
Okay. But it would be a usable
It is, yeah,
space.
15 foot 5 by 19 foot 6, and then, you know, that's the big square, and then there's another 5 feet and another, you know, so there's a little bit of, there's usable space there.
Okay.
Viable for city open spaces,
Okay.
what I would say.
All right, I'll just go for it. I would like to put forward a motion to recommend approval with standard conditions and a condition to ensure a permeable driveway, and also including a landscaping plan.
Lighting
Um,
plan. Include lighting.
and a lighting plan.
A lighting plan, sure.
Yeah, so permeable driveway, lighting
And-
plan, landscaping, anything else?
Landscaping plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Landscaping plan and standard conditions.
Anything else, John?
I'll second it.
Made and seconded a motion to recommend. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are we doing with this one? This is my recycling.
The next order of business is a review of case 2003S at Admiral's Hill. Gentlemen, tell us your story.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? Great. Mr. Barry Berman sends his regards and hello to everyone. My name is Jeffrey Lind. I am the Director of Facilities, and I work for Mr. Berman. I'm here with Mr. William Marr with Niche Engineering. He's our civil engineer. And we're looking for approval for a major site plan to construct a new bulk oxygen storage building at 165 Captain's Row as part of a project to install 10 new ventilator connections for new residents at the Leonard Florence Center. We initially, we did a project like this, slightly larger, back about 2020. We installed 20 ventilator connections at that time. Since then, the need has increased quite a bit. So we would like to continue on that mission and expand the project. So in order to do so, we'll need to construct a small outbuilding on the property for the additional oxygen storage.
And currently, the existing building houses tanks in the basement floor of the Leonard Florence Center building to accommodate their current needs, but with their future needs, they don't have enough room within their facility for that purpose. So this is why we are before the board seeking approval for a storage building to contain a larger oxygen tank facility to service the building. What is proposed is a new facility.
Bill? Excuse me, Bill, will you take the mic?
I got it, Jeff. Our plan is to construct a new storage building in this vicinity, and then we're going to run an oxygen line from this location through the dirt area and cross the sidewalk and into the building where their current tanks are located. And then there'll be some adjustments in the piping and so forth to connect to the interior piping to those floors for the need of oxygen.
Can you describe what the structure looks like?
It's a tank. It's about, well, it's a storage, like a metal storage building, about 10 feet wide and 18 feet long, 20 feet long.
So it will be a block wall building initially that would be 15 feet wide, 25 feet long, 12 feet high, and then it will be finished in a brick facade to look exactly like the existing structures now.
Are there drawings of that?
Not yet. We haven't got to that stage yet. It's in process.
And the application, or the information we have states that parking spaces will be lost to accommodate this new structure.
So at this point, we're looking at only one, possibly two parking spots, but that would be all.
Okay.
And we don't have any current issues with people being able to park. There's no issue with that.
And how long do you think the project will take?
Go ahead, Bill.
We anticipate, depending on availability of products to construct the building and the tank itself, it could take 3 to 6 months.
And somebody's concerned about noise.
Right. John had provided a copy of the email. There is no noise associated with this.
No, there's no mechanical systems or anything in the building.
No, I think they're more concerned about it when you build it. Like, are you going to build a tunnel to get to the, I think that's what their concerns are.
No, just like installing a water pipe or a sewer pipe, we're just excavating down about 4 feet or so to put in, a trench, say a foot wide, a foot and a half wide, to install this oxygen line from the new building and then into the existing building.
And what about security for the building? Is there, like...
It'll be a locked facility. And
one
then,
entrance?
Yes. Well, there will be access out front for to fill up the tank when it's needed, and then there is a door closest to the for maintenance purposes to get into the building if anything is needed. But they're both secured with locks.
What part of this connector is going to be visible? Is that all underground?
Yes, it's underground, the
So
oxygen line.
the only thing that will be visible is this brick building that's enclosing the was like a blast-proof building underneath, is that the whole idea?
Yes, well, it says a 2-hour, it's a 2-hour rate by code, yes.
Okay.
And as Jeff mentioned,
Bill?
Mike,
Bill?
I'm sorry. The exterior of the building will match the brick pattern of this building and the Leonard Florence Center building.
Okay, so I have been there, and it's a wonderful facility, by the way. We're so
Thank
lucky
you.
to have that in Chelsea. But I've approached from the steep side of the site. Is that at the bottom of the page?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be,
This is Commandant's Way up here. And then the Florence Center with the cul-de-sac.
okay, where's the
the-
retaining wall? Where's the real steep?
This right here is the retaining wall. And these are the stairs that go up to the front of the Leonard Florence Center building.
Okay, so it's well disguised. It's tucked in the back. Okay, that's all I'm asking.
And also, too, is we are removing a portion of the existing sidewalk so we can push the building as far back as possible without interfering in this path of travel. And one thing that we do have to construct is a concrete pad for the oxygen tank. When it makes its deliveries, it likes a level landing area there, and it has to be made out of concrete, and so that they can offload from their truck into the oxygen tank in the building.
I would like to make a motion, if nobody has any other questions, I would like to make a motion that we recommend approval of this with the standard conditions.
I would, carrying, this is a case that goes back to 2007, so I would recommend that the conditions be you carry over the existing, the 2007 conditions, but I would also recommend a design review as well.
Okay.
Is that added to the motion?
Added, yes.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Mr. Berman thanks you as well very much. Thank you.
My sister's the student.
Not sure who Mr. Berman is.
My name is Medina Dinosaur. I am the homeowner. I just wanted to express, one, my apologies for arriving late. I was at the hospital talking to doctors. I understand punctuality and professionality is very important, but my dad's having emergency heart surgery tomorrow, so I was interpreting some of those plans and contingencies to my mother and my sister, who's a physician, to take over following his ICU tomorrow. So sincere apologies for being late. I also did want to clarify, my brother Arslan caught me up with some of the issues and concerns in regards to the driveway. I'd like to express our sincere intent that this is our first home, and apologies for this not being done with the route that we unfortunately didn't know to take. And I want to express my intent and say that we're trying our best to do everything that we can, and connecting with a couple of you folks to see what next steps would be preferable to make this right. I also did want to just clarify what it is that you guys would need from us to make sure that this goes properly and ensures both the approval but also the excitement of you guys, and just clarifications on what we should do next. So thank you for your time. Just wanted to express that.
I think this is a pretty simple issue. The planning board overall is pretty unpleased that, first of all, you're coming to us after construction, which is an issue that comes up often, and it's pretty frustrating. And we definitely don't want to set a precedent that people can construct and then come to us, and we're forced to say, okay. We definitely are interested in giving you the opportunity to fix the situation. And our request is that you come back here in August with a proposal that includes a permeable driveway. So water has to pass through it. It can be a grate. You can change it to stone. You can add pavers. I'm sure that there's options. But yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
And just to further clarify, is there an office that we can talk about, like our proposal? Is that you? Hi, okay, awesome. Happy to talk with you about that. And is there anything else that is of concern? And again, sincere apologies. This is our first home, and this is a family home, so
Yeah.
sorry about that.
I don't think there's anything else, and I'm also sorry to hear about your father, and I hope that the surgery goes okay.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Have a great day. Thank you again for your time, and we'll follow up with John. So, thanks.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I third.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.